comes to defending the Packers and you have Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, can you just, I mean, it's got to be more complicated than this, but can you just have a linebacker on every step Jones takes and Jimmy Ward shadowing every cornerback that gets at him?
I wish it was that easy. For sure. The Packers, they have a lot of weapons. You know, you talk about the back 33 or this receiver 17, and of course Aaron, quarterback. He can make every throw, make every play. So those guys have been successful for a lot of years, and they're not slowing down now. So it's a tough challenge for us this week. You know, we're up to it. Looking forward to the matchup. It's going to be exciting just to be back here in our home stadium for the first time in a long time, to get our fans back in here. Make sure they're rowdy and loud. We need all the help we can get. So make sure they're pretty loud when we're on defense to help us out, because we're going to need it.
How did you think Josh Norman did on Sunday?
I thought I was pleased with Josh. I thought he stepped in and did really well. He competed. One thing about Josh, he competes every snap. No matter who he lines up against, he's going to compete. Has great energy. He's great on the sideline with the guys. You know, it's just he's a true vet, true leader. Like, it's been awesome being around Josh, and he's just fit in with our guys really well, and has done a great job for the couple weeks that he's been here.
How do you weigh that? If Emmanuel's able to return this week, with him and Lenore, kind of the vet guy versus the.
Yeah, we have options there at cornerback. So with E-Man and Demo, Josh, all those guys are capable of going out and playing for us. And good thing about it, Demo, E-Man, they've played a lot of ball for us. Happy for Demo to get experience. So he did really well for us this past Sunday. Again, just competed, never shied away from anybody or anything. You know, he stepped up, competed, and I love that about Demo. So we got guys there, a lot of guys there who can step in and help us.
You suggest Eric Armstead is playing really well. Would you say this is the best you've seen him play? I know it's only 2 games.
Yeah, I think Eric he's done really well for us. His first 2 games, he's been disruptive on the quarterback. It maybe doesn't show in the sack production and things like that, but when we talk about affecting the quarterback, I think Eric has done that and done it at a very high rate. And Eric continues to excel and do well. He's playing with power, and he's moving the pocket, he's forcing the quarterback to make in-air throws. So, I'm really happy with where Eric is, and just happy for Eric, just the leader that he is and everything that Eric represents. Like, he's a great guy to have, great teammate to our guys, great leader. Probably one guy who studies a lot of film. Very smart guy, very cerebral, very smart, understands looks and things, how people are trying to attack us. So it's one thing about Eric, like, he's very detailed in his approach. He's very detailed in his work ethic. Like, every week he's on it. He's on it. He understands what the offense is going to give him, and he's able to capitalize on that.
How did you feel that you guys did? I know there were some issues at the start of the Lions game in terms of they had a lot of inside runs. How did you feel like you improved in terms of maintaining gap integrity, and how did Kinlaw sort of help that? Yeah, I think Kinlaw was happy for him to get back out there. Kinlaw is a big piece to us shoring up on the inside of our defense. Kinlaw is a major piece of that, and he did a solid job for us on Sunday. And just the back end, all the guys just being where they're supposed to be, guys being detailed on their fits, eyes in the right place. That helps us, stop the run. Then the run game is also about a mindset. Guys have to have that physical mindset when it comes to the run game, and have the mentality that nobody is going to run the ball against us. It's attitude, and it's detailed on where you need to be.
It's the best that DJ Jones has looked over his career this year, especially in terms of pass rush.
Yeah, DJ was very explosive and disruptive on Sunday. I think their offensive line had a really hard time dealing with DJ. DJ's doing great. I mean, those guys up front every day, starting with their coach, Coach Kasarik. He's training those guys every day to be their best. And you see all those guys are playing up to that level all across the D-line. And I tell them all the time, everything we do defensively, it starts with our defensive line. So when they're playing their best, and all the guys we're mentioning, all of them are playing their best, like, we'll be a good defense based on how our D-line plays.
DeMeco, 33 years old, is getting up there for a cornerback. With Josh Norman, I assume he's not physically the same guy he was at 25. How much does his experience and everything allow him to play like he did Sunday?
Well, the older you get in this league, it's like how do the older guys keep up with the younger guys? And it's all about, it's from the neck up, right? How smart are you when you're out there? Understand that you've seen as many things you're gonna see, route recognition, splits, all those things from the cornerback position. But it doesn't matter wherever you play it in this game, offense, defense. If you've been around long enough, you've seen a lot and you're able to understand and anticipate what you're going to get. That allows you to gain that extra step maybe on a young guy who's still trying to figure things out. Older guys are able to gain that step on them just because of the mental game that they're able to play. And I think that's where Josh is ahead of a lot of people just because of his mental prep.
Like Aziz was in the right spot all day long. There were a couple of missed tackles, however. What's happening on those plays? Is he going almost too fast on some of them?
Yeah, Aziz, like you said, he's in the right spot. But anytime anybody is missing a tackle, it's all about technique. Just guys keeping their feet underneath them, keeping a good base, and just putting body on body and wrapping guys up. That's the main thing. You see guys miss tackles. A lot of times people are leaving their feet trying to sell out when it may not be the exact time to sell out. Not many times when you just need to sell out. You just need to be confident in what you're doing, put your body in, keep your feet in the ground, and just wrap people up. That's the biggest thing on tackling, and tackling is confidence as well, just being confident in what you're doing and just getting a guy down. And tackling is not just on one person, it's on all 11 guys. I don't expect one person to make a tackle without 3, 4, 5, 10 other guys showing up at the ball. All right. Thanks, guys.
Nice to see you guys again. What do we got? You guys got anything going on? Just hanging out in an auditorium? All right. Just going to drag it out of me, huh? God. Make me do all the work. What do you guys got for me?
Such a new group of running backs that you're working with. This new guy, Patrick, does he come in already fairly well versed in the offense? I mean, how much getting up to speed does he need?
There's a lot of offense and a lot of plays, so there's a lot of get up to speed in the process. There's some carryover with the scheme that they do in Cincinnati in terms of the run plays specifically. So that it hasn't been starting from square one, but again, it's learning a new language. The good thing about our offense is that you can kind of compartmentalize portions of it, learn what you need to learn, and there's no shortcut. There's been a lot of hours worked by Coach Bobby Turner and him putting in, and we got a couple new guys, and that's kind of the case for everybody. So it's been fun, and it's just opportunities to coach.
Like, have you been encouraged by what you've seen from Trey Sermon in these two practices, what he could do limited wise?
I've been encouraged in terms of talking to him, and he feels good. But again, it's a protocol, so you just, as a coach, you have to prepare. You can't be like, oh well, we thought he was going to play, So you're encouraged by it, but you approach it like he's not going to play, because that's the worst case scenario, and then move on from there.
To spend extra time this week sort of formulating a plan for depending on which running backs are available. Do you have different plays for different guys?
Yeah, there's a part of just preparing what you can call and what you cannot call with certain people, because again, it's a short time span from when they got in the building, so you want them to operate full speed and give them and be fair to them and let them play fast. So you think through it, make sure that schematically you don't do anything that challenges their brain too much, because their job is to carry a football and not get tackled, and it's hard to do that when you're thinking too much.
With all this talk about the running backs, it makes it sound like the offense is hamstrung, but you have Debo, you have IU, Trent Williams wasn't. Those three guys weren't around last time the Packers came in. So do you feel that you can dial up almost anything you want?
No, the biggest thing is that we have a group of men, 10 other players, including the quarterback, that are also responsible for running the football as well. So you make sure that everything's tight and that everyone's comfortable doing what they do, and you don't really approach it like, hey, we can't. No, we're a professional football team, and we have an organization with a great personnel department that gives us talented players, and our job is to use running backs to run, and that's really all we really look at.
Mike Powell said there was no thought that Trenton Cannon was going to play on offense. Obviously, he didn't have to play a snap. Can you just talk about what was going on in the fourth quarter when all the running backs were getting injured and what led to
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. But again, it's also challenging. That's part of our job and responsibility of the 49ers organization and the fan base. So you were prepared for the worst case scenario, but you're not super pumped up for the worst case scenario. Not because we have a ton of confidence in that player, and that's why he's on our team, but more that you don't want to put someone in a position to fail. So you want to do stuff that your players are comfortable with. So it was wild, and not the best case scenario by any means, but that's one of the things that we preach. Coach Shanahan preaches all the time, is that that doesn't matter. There's going to be turmoil each and every game. It's how do players respond. Okay, if a player doesn't know what to do, it'd be great if the fullback or tight end told them what to do. You put it on the collective, and he's just in 1 week, he's far ahead of where he was last.
I think his first practice was Thursday. What percentage of the offense did he know Sunday?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. It's funny because in those situations you don't get reps, it doesn't mean, but we don't totally know all of what he knows. You're hoping that he's observing the other players do stuff, but you kind of have to ask during the game, are you comfortable with X, Y, or Z? Because you truly don't know because we haven't had the opportunity to get him the reps to do it. But that's something that is important in player-coach communication, that you have to be comfortable just being honest and saying, yeah, coach, I don't know what that is. And fortunately, Kyle called a play that he was familiar with, and we just kept it moving.
Samuel on the radio said yesterday that on his big gainer, he lined up on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Did you notice that immediately?
Oh, yeah.
Your head and
No, it's one of those fun roller coasters where you're like, what is he doing? Oh, no. Oh, yes. One of those things. Because it was, what was cool about it was that Debo and Trent understood the issue, still looked at the clock, had awareness, and then Jimmy specifically knew exactly what was going on, knew his issue, adjusted his technique to compensate for the formation bust, and didn't blink and threw an unbelievable ball between two hook players. So it was a roller coaster of emotion, especially when he's threading the needle through two tight defenders, and then Debo spits out across the field.
Play seemed to be sort of a turning point for the way Jimmy was playing. Was there a sense that maybe some of that chaos and just sort of how it happened might have helped Jimmy lock in a different way, maybe think a little bit less about everything else that was so frenetic in the first
No, for sure. It's football, quarterback position is there's a lot of similarities to every other sport, and you find a rhythm and you get a little more comfortable and you're thinking less and you're just reacting because of all your training. It is tough on players, offensive and defensive players, when you're going 3 and out, because you don't get in that rhythm, and you have all this time between series to think about what you didn't do and what's coming next, and et cetera, et cetera. So it was nice, that drive in particular, just getting a couple first downs and him making a play to actually get us in position to make that play on the pass play, and then the consequential touchdown to Juwan Jennings.
Wondering if there's any more nuance to a quarterback sneak than we're seeing what meets the eye. I mean, is it good to have a veteran center there when you're having those kind of crucial sneak calls at the end?
Yeah, it's center, guards, the entire offensive line. You can't have penetration on the edges. I think one of Jimmy's quarterback sneaks that he had last week, he got hit in the A gap and then came back out, and we don't get the first down if Juice isn't blocking the edge and Trent isn't sealing it down. So it's a veteran center helps, but it's the quarterback. He's a football player that's fearless. That he's had success on sneaks before, and every once in a while when the game situation allows it, when his number's called, he's usually good at it.
what the difference was in terms of George Kittle getting 15 catches on 15 targets last year playing the Eagles, and why he only had 4 catches for 17 yards on Sunday.
Yeah, don't be so humble, layman. No, it's a different defense for sure. Like their front, they end up playing us in a manner that was pretty similar to last year, but the back end and coverages dictate a lot of those things. You're trying to have an efficient offense and utilize all your skill players. But when you're getting doubled on third down, or if you just have spot drop zone, it just affects things. So the way the game played out, the way our defense was playing, the way dictated how Kyle was calling it, and how he was calling it was, we started to build some momentum on the line of scrimmage, and he didn't want to steer away from that. And I think it was one of the better blocking games that I've seen, and that's saying a lot from George. He had a lot of great finishes. really impacted the game as he always does, whether he touches the ball or not.
We see a lot of like the viral blocks that Trent Williams, where he's
Mhm.
throwing somebody around. So obviously big and strong, fast for his size. But are there little things that he's doing that maybe we don't see or that maybe show up on the film that allows him to be as productive as?
You know, Trent's rare in that he is a freak athlete at the position, has been a freak athlete at the position for over a decade. But what people don't realize is how much Trent loves football. So he continues to get better at little nuances, how to cut a defender off, how to set and pass pro. There's a lot of things that, and then his working relationship with Chris Furster. I think all of that is leading him to play some of his best football he's ever played.
The offense, there were a few missed chances towards the boundary. Do you feel like as an offense you need to become more efficient at taking advantage of those chances?
Oh, for sure. No, that's the whole deal. Week in, week out, you're building towards the end, so you don't really ever be like, all right, finished product, because right there you just lost your edge, and whether you're getting exposed now or in a couple weeks, the end is coming. So there's we're Kyle does a good job of trying to build that culture. I think everyone buys into it, where you're always building to be your best self and our best team, and that's progressing through the year. We may have a great game, we might have a terrible game. That means nothing to the next week. So I think it's awesome to get a win when you have a lot of yards and plays left on the field. So that's the silver lining to it. But whether you win or lose, you're trying to look at it that same way, so that you can try to be your best football team in the home stretch when you're trying to get a playoff berth, or you're trying to win home field, or whatever your team and your performance has allowed you to do in the whole season at the end. Thanks, Mike. All right. It was fun, guys.
You're coming back into kicking here. We talked about the wind patterns earlier. What's the energy like now, having fans in there, and what does that do just for everybody?
Well, it's been great. I mean, obviously, we played in one of the most hostile environments in Philadelphia that you're going to find in the NFL. So the last time we played Green Bay that I remember was pretty raucous was in the NFC Championship. So I think when you have a 2-year hiatus with fans and they get a chance to come in on a Sunday night game, I'm sure they're going to be tailgating a lot. I'm sure they're going to be playing a lot of fun games while we're getting ready, but I expect it to be really loud, and it's probably going to be a hard place for Green Bay to play in. And if we come out and play well and set the tempo, I think it'll be a really good opportunity for us to have home field advantage.
Have you kicked in the stadium this week at all, Robbie?
I haven't. I think that's important when you first get here. I think knowing kind of what all the spots do now, being in my 5th year with the team, I think is very helpful. Being with the same group's really helpful. We've had an opportunity to go in training camp and do some of those things. So I think more or less now, you're 17. It's about how do you manage your body more mentally and physically. But it's been fun. I mean, it's been a fun year for me. I'm trying to enjoy it more and more as we go on. But obviously, the sense of urgency for me to win a Super Bowl is pretty high too. So it's kind of the only thing I really care about and that I'm worried about, and just go out and do my job and help the team win, and hopefully we can be in the Super Bowl at the end and hold the trophy.
Difference between kicking gear at night versus the day?
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, during the day, usually the end of the game is going to be a lot more windy than in the beginning. The wind pattern is pretty still in a 1 o'clock game at 10:56 when you're getting ready to warm up, as opposed to you come out right before 1 o'clock. The wind usually picks up. It's anywhere between 10 and 15, and then you get later in the year, the wind switches and you get a little bit more rain and some other things that you have to deal with. But usually when you start the game, pregame will be pretty windy. It'll taper down towards the end, so the fourth quarter is probably going to be the best time to kick in the game, and you just have to manage it through the first couple quarters.
How long, you talk about as you get older, enjoying it more, I'm not saying you're talking about retirement, we're trying to retire you, but, I mean, do you have an idea how much longer you want to play?
Not really. You know, I think something that's been unique for me this year is my kids were able to come to a game 2 years ago. Came to the game in Detroit. So my kids are now old enough to where they're 8, 6, and 3, and all they care about is, hey, can I meet Raheem Mostert because he's really fast? Or when I call home and FaceTime is, where's Jimmy G? So, you know, we sat down in the lobby and spent some time together. And, you know, for them to be able to interact with the guys like George Kittle, I think my middle son was starstruck when he met George in the hallway in the hotel. Whereas my oldest son's like, oh, hey, George, you know, like it's nothing, you know? So I think for me, looking back this offseason on, you know, just kind of where I want, kind of what I want to get out of the last portion of my career is just enjoying the guys more, enjoying the locker room, savoring each moment, because you never know when it's going to be your last. And I don't think I'm anywhere close to retirement, but, you know, you get in this daily grind of every day. Monday you're lifting, getting a massage. Tuesday you're, you know, getting body maintenance. Wednesday kick, you know, and you get into that and you forget about the enjoyment. I mean, I was looking yesterday when they released the Hall of Fame 122 list, and I probably played with 15 of those guys. So to me, those are things that are pretty special, and I look back and just tell myself now, hey, enjoy it more, take in each and every moment, and that's the things that I'm going to look back on when I'm done, and I'll probably miss the most is the locker room.
Last one. Do you care about playing 20 years?
You know, I would like to get 2,000 points and 500 field goals. I think that's a pretty big feat to do. I think that not many people have been able to do that. You know, I think you have to be at the right place at the right time to be able to have that longevity. You know, I've been pretty lucky to be around some really good special teams coaches. I started out with Dave Tobe and Jody Camillus and Chris Tabor, who's now in Chicago. Tom Quinn in New York, now Hightower. So those places I've been have always put a focus as an organization on special teams. So I've been pretty fortunate enough that I haven't been at a place where special teams isn't like the back burner. So they spend time on field goal. They spend time on, you know, techniques that we need to do. And there's not a whole lot now that going through and watching film, and, you know, I could tell you pretty much every play for the last 15 years on special teams. It's kind of helped us get to kind of where I'm at mentally to be able to handle the long journey ahead to get to that 20-year mark. But we'll see. I mean, I'm going to probably play as long as I feel good enough to be able to help the team win. And hopefully my kids are enjoying it and will enjoy the ride with me, because I think it's important for them to understand when they win and lose in sports. My son, they play soccer on Saturday and football on Sunday. And they lost in soccer the other day, and my two kids were pretty much the only two not crying. And everyone's like, well, you know, why is it that your kids take it so good? And they're like, well, try watching your dad lose a Super Bowl, you know, or, you know, understanding that it's not always about participation ribbons, right? So as long as I'm getting those things out of playing football and I'm still happy playing and I'm not grumpy as the grandpa of the group, then I'll keep doing it. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Why are you guys all over there? That's crazy. Weirdos. How are we doing today, guys? It's lovely to see your smiling faces.
George, your last game at Levi Stadium with fans was the NFC Championship game against the Packers. So how exciting is it to come back to that this weekend with the same opponent?
I mean, that was awesome. The NFC Championship game, you know, our stadium was wild. It was rocking. I think we have incredible fans that travel anywhere they're allowed to go, and I know they pack our home stadium, you know, to the max. And so I'm just really excited that their first experience back at Levi's is going to be a night game. I know they're going to bring it, and we're going to play at our highest level for them because, like you said, they haven't been there since 2020, and it's just been a minute. So we miss them, and we know they miss us. So we're excited to have our fans back.
Did you realize that Juwan Jennings had let go of his touchdown ball? How did you have the wherewithal to retrieve that?
I learned that from Pierre Garçon. Pierre's a guy, if you go back, you can watch like every touchdown from the first like 2 seasons that he was here. And every time he would be the first guy down there, he'd wait for the guy to spike it or just drop the ball, and he'd just go pick it up and quietly hand it to one of our equipment managers. And I know he did that for me like 3 times. He would go get a ball for me, and I was like, dang, I wish I would have picked that up. You know, like I'm spiking it, having a good time, not thinking about it. But like, you know, they're fun memories, especially like a first touchdown ball. And so that's all on Pierre. And if you would have, you see it on tape, like Sanu's going back to look for it too, because he's a vet and he understands that as well. So that's just, whenever I see a touchdown, a guy celebrating. I know Juwan completely blacked out, has no memory of scoring anyways, probably doesn't remember what the play is. So I knew he wasn't going to find the ball, but just want to get that back to him.
Now that you guys have been a couple weeks into the season with the new protocol, are you noticing a tangible difference just in terms of the way you can prepare for games with talking amongst each other in meeting rooms and stuff like that? And is that manifesting on the field?
Yeah, I mean, just being in the same room as your guys is a huge difference. I mean, like our tight room, we're a close-knit group, and the fact that we had to meet in our hotel rooms last year for the last 6 weeks of the season on a Zoom call, I mean, there's just not a lot of, I don't know, love or emotion in there. You know, like, you know, football, you got to have some of that emotion, that passion, and you got to love the guys you're working with. And I know it's really difficult when you can't sit in a room with those guys. And whether you're watching film or just BS and having a good time, it just kind of, it makes it more of a business than, you know, it takes like the football out of it, really. So, yeah, I think just being able to be in meeting rooms, being next to each other, being able to, you know, just get like the energy of the other guys has definitely been very beneficial for us as a team.
Back to the touchdown balls. How many of yours have you kept? You have 14 touchdowns.
A handful of the touchdowns. I know some. I have a couple from like Broncos game, you know, like breaking 1,000 yards, Rams game, record breaker. Just some of them like that, or like after a game, like I might not even remember getting one, and there'll be a ball in my locker. It's like they put a piece of tape on it, tells you what it was for, and I was like, oh, wait, hey, I appreciate you guys giving me that one. But a couple of touchdown balls here and there.
I think half your touchdowns have come in primetime games.
Well, that's cool.
What extra juice do you get out of the playing under the lights?
I mean, you got to bring the juice, or you know, you're going to get God out there. I mean, just especially at home. I mean, we have, like I said, we have great fans. And another thing is, you know, Coach Shanahan likes to have fun under the lights too, and we have a lot of fun plays always. You know, whenever we do the primetime games, you know, little things here and there that, you know, opponents not might be looking for and stuff like that. And we have a good time out there, and our team, like, we thrive off of our crowd and stuff, and we just play at a high level. When the crowd's going, we're going. And the good news is we have a really good defense that gets the crowd going, so the offense basically just has to, you know, move the ball, score a couple touchdowns, and we're in it.
That'd be a weird question, but
You sure you want to ask it?
I gotta go for it. The cameras picked you up. I think you pancaked somebody and you were like laughing, and that happened again. I think maybe against Arizona last year. Are you laughing every time you pancake someone?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that intentional, or does it just happen?
It just kind of happens. Yeah, it's kind of from whether you're, you know, taking their soul or, you know, they just made a highlight reel clip, and you don't ever want to be on a highlight reel clip. So I kind of laugh about the fact that they just made a highlight reel clip. So thanks.
Couple more. George, how did you end up in the national ad campaign for Venom?
For Venom, that was a dream come true for me. They called me like, hey, you know, Sony called my marketing team, and they were like, hey, would George have any interest doing a commercial for the movie Venom that's coming out? They didn't even know, like, I'm going to get a Venom tattoo this off season.
Got to convince the wife first to let me do it, but working on that. But they called and asked. I was like, yeah, I mean, and you want to pay me for it too? Yeah, I mean, I would have done it for free. But yeah, I mean, that was a dream come true. I'm a huge superhero nerd. Spider-Man is like my favorite superhero besides Batman, and so Venom kind of comes with that as well. And huge Tom Hardy fan, huge Woody Harrelson fan. And the fact they asked me to be a part of that, really, I mean, I was giggling. I was a child that day that I had to record that. It was an absolute blast.
When did you do it, and what was the process?
Right before camp.
Yeah, like with CGI and stuff. How did
Yeah, the whole thing was basically green screen, and it was like 3 hours. I mean, I was super quick. Did it like 20 minutes from the stadium, so it was basically just an off day. Had to roll over there for a couple hours, hang out at a green screen, and they fed me some lines. I said them, and I got to have a good time. And there's another scene coming out. They have another one of them coming out where I actually get to transform into the Venom character, which I'm pretty pumped about that one coming out. It's gonna be sick though. I'm very excited for the movie. Like I said, I'm a huge superhero guy, so the fact I got asked to do that, I was like, wow, this is awesome.
the first step then for you to make the transition to like this the next?
I'm gonna try to play football as long as I can, and then hopefully we can get to that in like 7 or 8 years.
Did you realize you were big time when you officially had your own marketing team?
Well, I got that after my first Pro Bowl season in 2018. I just had a couple things, and like my agent, he does a great job for me and stuff like that. But he was like, "Hey, you're gonna have a couple things here and there that, you should probably get a marketing team that's really good at what they're good at." And our marketing team, Rubicon, is in New York, and they've been doing Super Bowls for 30 years. So like they're really good at what they do, and I've had nothing but a great experience with them. But yeah, it's definitely grown. Like they're like I said, they're good at what they do, and they only find stuff that they know that I like. But I've had a pleasure working with them, and they definitely make my life a lot easier.
All right, thank you.
Wow, that was easy. You guys didn't even ask me about football. Crazy.
What's up? Small group.
Yeah. You obviously don't know for certain, I guess, who left tackle will be. You look at both Jenkins and Kelly?
I actually didn't know that he was hurt until just now, so I'll look at probably Turner. I was going to look at him anyway because he's the right tackle, but they'll probably flip him to left if that's what I would think because he's played left last year before. And but yeah, I'm just looking at them all. Is Kelly what number?
Look at the tight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know who that is. Did he play in the preseason probably?
Yeah, got heavy hands.
Yeah, I'll probably look at them all.
It would seem like, these are guys, this is not Bakhtiari. I mean, obviously they're NFL players, but you go into this like, hey, I might have an edge going into this thing.
I don't like to think that necessarily, but I definitely want to play the best I can and beat these guys.
You were talking about how frustrating it is sometimes getting chipped. Have you had to watch more tape just on like how teams' tight ends like to chip or receivers, how they block?
Yeah, I just have to be more aware. Some of them, the corner could let me know, and I think Josh is going to do a good job of that this week, just in case I don't see him. But sometimes it's tough when they come out of nowhere.
Do you just have to sometimes when they line up, they're just running around. Is it tough to tell sometimes when they're just?
Yeah, because the early part of the game last week, they were just lining up and going and going and going, and then out of nowhere, he just chipped me. So.
It's been reported that you've gotten the vaccine now. Could you explain maybe the hesitancy that you've had and why you could get it?
No.
Be the first time with fans back in the stadium since the NFC Championship game, prime time, same opponent. Is there a little bit extra excitement this week?
Yeah, definitely getting back in front of Levi's and just getting that atmosphere back. It's really exciting. I think the last game with fans was the NFC Championship, and just excited to get the fans back into it and have a home game and hopefully get a win.
Had that kind of anticipation of going into that game against Cleveland and Baker, like your first primetime game?
Yeah, it's similar, definitely. I think I was even more nervous back then because I was a rookie, but yeah, we definitely want to get off to 3-0 start, so we got to win.
You really don't feel, do you feel like you're a grizzled veteran now?
A little more, but definitely not a grizzled veteran quite yet.
Trent Williams question. We all see how big and fast and strong he is. But are there little things that he does that maybe technically that we can't see that set him apart?
Yeah, I mean he's probably the smartest offensive lineman I've ever went against, along with all his physical attributes and athleticism, and just he's so balanced in what he does that he could change up his punch and do all different types of things with his hands and change up his set, because no matter what, he's going to be on balance. And you obviously see how tough it is to beat him. I don't think anybody's even come close first 2 weeks.
How do you see that? How does that manifest?
Just adjusting every day against me, and just the split second decisions he makes in the middle of a rush to rake me down or pull his hand away and grab, or just the reaction that he has. It shouldn't happen that quick, but it does.
You sacked Aaron Rodgers a couple times in your career. What is it like going up against him, getting one of those sacks? Does he play some kind of games with you guys? Does he talk out there?
Yeah, I mean, we just want to get off to a good start and just have him feel the pressure overall because in 2019, obviously we made him uncomfortable, and if he's comfortable, then it's going to be a long day for anybody. And so we're just trying to close the pocket on him, make him get off his normal routine drop, and then once you start taking him down, then you just want to make him pick himself up as many times as he can.
Different, or if anything, with Eric Armstead, and what stands out to you about just the way he prepares and studies his opponents and develops a plan on Sunday?
Eric's had a really good game last week, and I think he's probably like Trent. He's probably the smartest D lineman in our room, I'd say, and he just, when it comes to the run game, like he knows what plays are coming half the time, and he's mastered it after so many years in the league, and he just could recognize things, and when in the run game, when you know something's coming, you're that much quicker, and with his strength and size, it's a really good combo, and he takes care of his body extremely well, I've noticed. Just all of his people, his team of body maintenance people that he works with is another edge.
Do you think, as far as your knee and maintenance and all that, will there be a point in the season where you're like, what knee injury? Or do you think it may not be till 2022 till you can kind of say, I'm totally, done, like, I'm not worried about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think I'm worried about it anymore, but I do take care of both my knees, so I don't think that'll ever end because you put a lot of stress on them in football. But when it comes to like playing football, I'm not thinking about it at all.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks.
Well, it's a great day for a Thursday, isn't it? Yeah.
How did you feel your game went Sunday and just how you're fitting in here?
Well, coming along. I think the game, I executed what they wanted me in my assignment, what they wanted me to do. So, yeah, just for coming off a week of practice, kind of, getting rolling. But it's like riding a bike too. So, been in this game a while and kind of know what it want of me and acts. So I just try to, do the best that I can. That's in my abilities. Go out there and execute what's called, and we did that. So now this week is another week. It's like that in the NFL.
We all see Aaron Rodgers and the arm talent and everything like that.
Mhm.
But as somebody who lines up on the other side, what stands out about him to you, and what do you have to focus on when you're going with him?
I mean, he's the best of the best at the top of his game. Whether he played this offseason or not, like when that guy plays, he's always a special talent in our league. I called him Gandalf the White. He always have been that for me. Kind of set himself up above the crowd, and when I play that guy, I always play 100%. It's kind of a cat and mouse game with the DB and the quarterback in the sense of, where he want to go with football, and knowing that you're up every time he has a ball in his hands and drop back. So being key on my assignment, alignment, and perfect execution is the only way that's going to, be that guy back there. He's been doing it for a long time, and like I said, he's one of the best at the game doing it. Just got to, have more plays than he.
Josh, you came into the league, Coastal Carolina, fifth-round pick,
Mm-hmm.
and now at the end, you're like, that's 33-year-old cornerback. I mean, is it similar in that you might have skeptics and doubters, and so is it familiar territory for you?
That's life. I mean, where would we be if we didn't have dollars? I think that where would we be if, there wasn't haters? I think that, would Adam would have ate the apple? Would we have sin in the world today? You got to go back to the beginning of it all. But man, that's just life. You pick and choose how you choose to deal with that. You can listen to it, or you can continue to do what you've always done and rise above it. And for me, I'm going to get that. I'm always going to get that. No matter what, until the day I leave this earth, I'm just going to, it just happens. Either you're with it or you're not. And for me, just always been that way for some odd reason. But I carry that mantle with my chin held high and still keep battling, man. Because I know, who I am and what I want out of life. And it's been one crazy ride. It ain't over yet, though. So it's just I continue to fight, continue to battle each and every week, and putting some good stuff on tape and going out there and winning from teammates, because that's really what it's all about, your teammates and a championship. And if we can do that, then everything else is irrelevant.
Do you, that was your first game,
Mm-hmm.
you're 33. I mean, did that answer questions for you? Like, okay, I've still got it. Are there doubts when you start a new season?
No, it never answers any question for me. So I'm blessed with a talent that, people try to mark and think they can determine his altitude, which is, it's really stupid. Because you look at it and it's just like, did you make me? Do you know what I can do? Like, do you know my altitude in this game? Puzzle a lot of people just because of they try to put you in a label and put you on that and stamp you and think this is who you are. But like, you never gonna get me because I'm never really gonna get myself. Like, I improve at something every year, and I'm blessed and highly favored in how I attack situations, and thank God that I'm able to still do it as long as I am at my age. And I think the age thing for a cornerback, they always get scrutinized that you're older age, like you're 33 or 34, you still, people think they can get one over on you. No, you just become more savvy in the game. That's all it does is just build your knowledge of the game. Who would want an expert to be on the field guarding another expert? I mean, I don't know. Just think about it. But at the end of the day, like, we see more ball than, have guys on the team. So it's just, we know what it looks like. And when you do that, you go out there and you give us, a fighting chance. And I just hope, and not hope, but I know that we have a team that, just hungry to compete. And when you got that, don't matter if you 21 or just coming into the league or you 35, still at the end of it, you're going to be where you want to be at the end of the day because you got guys who's hungry for the game.
You're 3-0 in games you played against Aaron Rodgers in the Packers.
Oh, really? Didn't know that.
What is it like guarding Devontae Adams, and what kind of savviness as an experienced player do you have to have?
Oh, man, he's special. He's a special cat. He's a real special cat, man. He grows every year too. You think you figure it out, and then he just evolve his game into something else, which is pretty cool to go out on the field and face a guy like that because he's always going to show you something different. It's just kind of cool because I like going against guys that elevate their game instead of staying the same because you kind of get a beat on them. So he's grown in that aspect, and it's fun to watch him. And I'm sure hell no it's going to be fun to play him. So I'm looking forward to it. And, yeah, man, him and A-Rod got a special connection. Every time I played them, those guys lock in on each other. And you can see that from my point of view, just looking in on them both. They know what they want to do, and it's going to be quite a challenge, but it's going to be a fun one, though. It'll be a fun one.
You played with Luke Kuechly, and I'm just curious, Fred Warner's sort of entering that stratosphere in the way he's talked about compared to his peers. Are there similarities that you've noticed in terms of presence or command in the huddle that you could make having played with both?
Oh, yeah. There are similarities. It's crazy because, I'm kind of seeing it from two different lenses in a sense. Just playing with Luke all those years and then coming out playing with Fred. It's just their presence, you know what I'm saying? It commands a bit of authority, not a bit, a lot of it. Just by listening, you can tell like his voice echoes through the front and the back end, and what he's calling, he automatically knows what's going on. He shows up with a vengeance, and he getting to the point where he's starting to read where people are going to be. And the thing that made Luke what he had an knack for the game. It's almost like he was a offensive coordinator playing linebacker in a sense. He knew where the play was at before the play even got started. And he was already there. And those bulls up front was moving so nobody wasn't able to touch him. And Fred has that here with the bulls that we have up front now, or he really ain't going to be able to touch him. He's just going to be in those gaps because he's sound. He's a sound, solid football player. And he has speed in that kills when you go inside the side. So just his mindset of the game, he's elevating. He's still on that path to getting to that point. We haven't seen the best of Fred Warner yet. I'm telling you. He's just, sky's the limit for the guy. It really is.
Jack, you're the Niners' oldest defensive player.
That's a stat I did not know. Yeah, I'll keep that one.
Does that seem weird? I mean, does this feel like a blink of an eye? Do you feel like that you've reached that point in your career?
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that. I really don't even feel like I'm 33, and I sure the heck don't act like it. I'm thinking I'm one of the guys there, and the age thing is just, it's really a number, man, because I really don't act or really feel like the age when I'm with those cats because until, have Emery in there who just turned 20. So I had to look at it like, bro, I'm really 13 years old. That's sick. If I'd be 14, but who's really counting? But no, yeah, man, it's kind of so surreal. But yeah, again, I really don't look at it that way. I look at it as I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. You guys been here. I just freshly got here 2 weeks ago, so I'm really trying to, fit in the sense of you show me the way instead of I'm showing you the way. And I can show you on certain things that I've been, part of in different places and seen so much ball. But at the same time, every place is different. So you want to be a servant leader instead of going out and, pressing your will upon people because, everybody is different. And I try to, move as I'm allowed to and being mindful of others and, their space. Cool.